most importantly, they need to watch men's Nordic combine in the Olympics. That is our ticket to 2030.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Play Like a Woman. I'm Bonnie, and today I'm here with Annika Malacinski. Hello, Annika. Thank you for being with us today.
Hi, Vani. Thanks for having me.
Before we start talking about women in sports and the Olympics, can you tell me more about yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Annika Malacinski, and I am on the U.S. ski team. And I do Nordic combined. And Nordic combined is really cool because I have to quite literally do two completely different sports and be able to be good at both of them. So it's a really fun sport environment, and yeah.
So you are a Nordic combined athlete. This sport combines ski jumping and country cross skiing. When did your journey start, and how did you get into this sport?
Yeah, so I have a really interesting story actually because when you start ski jumping, you usually start at a very young age. And I actually, I was a gymnast and I did gymnastics all the way until I was 16 years old and at a pretty competitive high level. Unfortunately, I had a lot of injuries and I had to step away from the sport. And originally, that was horrible for me because I really wanted to pursue Olympic dreams with the sport of gymnastics. So I kind of took a step back and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that didn't want to be normal and I wanted to keep being an athlete. So I went to go watch my younger brother, Nicholas. He is 2.5 years younger than me, and at the time he was 14. And I went to go watch one of his competitions in the place that I grew up in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. And the whole town came out. It was such a cool environment. And I watched ski jumping well, not for the first time, of course, because my brother had been doing it, but I guess I don't know, something like hit me where I was like, this is such a cool sport that I would love to try it. And that's kind of crazy to say at 16 because, you have a little bit more fear and a little bit more logic behind your head, but I don't know, it just something sparked in me and a couple days later, I went off of a 40-meter ski jump with no ski jumping experience, and the adrenaline rush and the fear that I felt, it was so exhilarating and super cool. So then, grew up doing Nordic skiing. So then I was like, okay, I want to do Nordic combined. And then now we're like 8 years in and I haven't looked back.
That's great. So this winter, the Olympics are hosted in Milan Cortina, and Nordic
Hmm.
Combine remains the only Olympic event without a women's category. Actually, it has never been included at all. It has been a men's only event since the first game in 1924. So you cannot represent your country because for the IOC sports director, Kit McConnell, Nordic Combine has two small audiences and a lack of diversity of countries taking part. What do you think about that?
Yeah, to be honest, it's all wrong. And I think that's probably most of the hate comments I get on my social media is, we don't deserve to be there. There's not enough women doing this. We don't have enough engagement in this. But it couldn't actually be farther from the truth because, like ski jumping and Nordic combined, they're all niche sports. You kind of have to grow up in a place that has ski jumps. In the US, it's very few. So already, like when you compare our numbers to other niche sports, like all of the sliding sports, that's all niche because you need to grow up in a place that has the course to slide down for bobsled, luge, and skeleton. Also, if you're looking at like big air or slope style, those are also very niche sports, small numbers. And yeah, it's not far, not at all. Like we have the same numbers, and this fact about saying, we have lack of diversity. Since 2020, our first ever World Cup, we've had 8 different nations on the podium. And then when you look at like cross country skiing, for example, most of the top 15 is Norwegian. So it's just like facts that Kit is saying that also just don't really make any sense. Or they can be come back with like, hey, this is not right. But at the end of the day, I've just realized how like corrupt the IOC is. And like it doesn't really matter what I have to say. If they make the decision to leave women out, then they will leave them out.
Yeah, because we you have other big competition like a World Cup.
Yes, and that's what's so sad is like women's Nordic Combined has everything but the Olympics. We have a World Cup circuit, we have Youth Olympics, we have World Championships, we have every single competition that every other athlete has, but we don't have the Olympics.
And when did the IOC told you and other women that you will not be able to compete?
It was 2022. It was June 24th. And that was like the big decision that the IOC was going to make. And for all of us women, it was really a big shock because at the end of the day, we really thought that they were going to let us compete in 26. So it was probably one of the hardest days I've ever had to go through.
So the IOC pointed at two small audiences. For example, in France, Nordic combine is not really publicized. How is the sport viewed in the United States or in other European country that you could compete in?
Yeah, so for example, like in the US, Nordic Combine is very small. Most people have no idea what that is, but that has a lot to do with what's televised. In the US, the culture is football, basketball, baseball, hockey. And that's about it. They barely even show cross country skiing or downhill skiing. So most Americans don't even actually know who Jessie Diggins is, which is absolutely crazy because she's such a known like icon and a figure in Europe. But most of our viewership actually does come from Europe, like Scandinavian countries, Norway and Finland, um, Austria, Germany. Those are very big for Nordic Combine as well. And what's a bummer is because Nordic Combine was in Beijing, we also don't have a lot of viewership in Asia. So that was one of the biggest reasons the IOC didn't want to put women in is because they didn't see the quality of it. Because looking at the men's numbers, apparently they were one of the most low viewed sports. But again, like I said, we don't have viewership in Asia, and it's really unfair to compare our TV times, or TV numbers compared to like downhill when downhill skiing gets like the best TV slot, whereas like Nordic Combine is put at like 6 in the morning.
And what I find crazy in your story is that your brother, Niklas, will be competed in the Olympic this year. Is the situation harder watching him realize his dream while you are not even allowed because you're a woman? Is this not a little bittersweet?
Yeah, it's very hard because it's very bittersweet. Like in one hand, I'm extremely proud of him, and I know that he's worked extremely hard for this, and he's so deserving of the Olympic spot. But at the same time, it's really hard to fathom that I do the same sport, and just because I'm a woman and my gender is different, that I'm actually not even allowed to step foot um, as like being an Olympic athlete. So it's very hard, very bittersweet, and I try my best to just support him, but also it's very important to advocate for this and make it known that the Olympics is still excluding a women's category in Nordic Mind.
So, since the last Olympics in 2022, the sport does involve the 2026 Games in Milan Cortina will be the most gender balanced Olympics Winter Games in history. Some sport will be a first for the ladies this year. So that proves that sports can be added, but that also means they can be cancelled. And for the 2030 Olympics in the French Alps, the IOC wants equality gender in every sport. So it's either they let you compete or they choose to cancel Nordic combine. So it's technically becoming men's problem too. Did they support you or talk about it on social media, on media, or anything?
Yeah, you're totally right. Like at the end of the day, we are fighting for a sport and not just women because men will not be put into 2030 if the women are not there. Um, so, I think that I'm definitely the loudest person on social media, but it has been amazing to see like some of the Nordic Combined men that have sisters in Nordic Combined actually are the ones that are advocating the most. So it's honestly really important that everybody talks about this because, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, it's about the sport surviving. So, yeah, I wish a little bit more people would do a little bit more to like spread the word, but yeah.
What would you tell to people that want to help you in the inclusion of the Nordic combined for the next Olympics?
Yeah, so this is a really important question. And to be honest, people need to be talking about Nordic combined. And most importantly, they need to watch men's Nordic combined in the Olympics. That is our ticket to 2030. If the IOC sees that there's engagement and people that are interested in watching Nordic combined, then that will be the like saving of our sport. So I can't even express enough how important it is that people watch Nordic combined this year.
Thank you so much for all of your answer. It was Annika Malacinski, American Nordic combined athlete with us today. I'm Bonnie, and you have just listened to Play Like a Woman.